Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here at C to take a look at Fallen City of Karez, which is debuting at Spiel 2012.
Yes.
Yes.
It has been already pre-sold at Kickstarter, but it's been shown to the public first time this conference.
And I was hoping to get an overview of the game. Now that we actually have it in front of us, we can actually take a look at it. You could show off what we're trying to do and what the goal of the game is.
Okay. Karez was once a very famous and big city. It fell into ruin, evil forces around it. At some point, the king decided that he wants to resurrect the city and bring it back to its former glory. So he asked the lords of the 5 guilds in the city to help and rebuild the place. The lords accepted the challenge, but being lords of guilds, of course, they have their own private goals as well. For example, here's a guild whose private goal is to accumulate valor. They do not care much about money or buildings or other possessions. At the end of the game, they will get a victory point for every 2 valor cubes that are in their possession. This guild, for example, is interested in the population. They will get an extra victory point for every person in the city above the limit, the minimum required 12. So this is the real bad guy. This guy thrives on.
I chose the right chair.
On threat. This guy gets a victory point for every 2 threat cubes on his private dungeon. So his goals are really destructive. Now, if at the end of the 8th turn, the game is played for 8 turns, the place has not grown to be a full city, everybody loses. Which means, if all guilds follow their optimal strategy, they're guaranteed to lose.
Right.
So the guilds have to let up a bit from their pursuit of their goals in order to at least ensure the city grows at a rate that will bring them to the desired size at the end of the game. And that means that the strategy becomes more complicated and delicate. At the end of each turn, things happen, of course, in the turn. We'll show you in a minute what happens. The city has some given level of threat around it. That has to do with how many adventures were not conquered, how many dungeons are opened, how many points on the dungeon. There is some valor that has already been gained, either by purchasing or by winning battles. The net safety status of the city will determine the immigration into the city at the end of the turn. So the only way for the city to grow is if the status of the city is good enough that citizens will want to immigrate, safe enough so that its citizens will want to immigrate. Otherwise, if it's a dangerous place, no citizens will be willing to immigrate. The city will not, the place will not grow. So there is a common interest to increase valor and decrease threat in spite of the aspirations of this guy. Even he has to keep that in mind, that if he is too bad, they will not get to the state where they get enough citizens to become because if he increases the threat always in the expense of valor, they will not grow fast enough.
He has to help the town grow before he makes it dangerous.
It's not the before, it's during, but he has to pace himself correctly so that he gains, but not sufficiently to destroy the chances of the city. How that happens is an interesting question. The turn is composed of 5 phases. The first phase is a bit like bridge, where you declare what actions you are going to perform. Actions may involve sending to work. The owner of this building, this is an indication of an owner action, can send a adventurer to work. At the end of the turn, he will get 1 gold. At this stage, he's only declaring that he's going to employ this person. The resource is consumed, but the gain is not yet achieved. There is, of course, a reason for that, because you will get infinite loops if you achieve your goal immediately and use the same gold again in another action. So you go around in declaring actions, consuming resources, which is buying things with gold or using citizens or workers. Of course, when the workforce is depleted and people don't have any more money and you run out of possibilities of actions, people start to pass. And then you reach a state where there's nothing more that can be done. You move to the next phase, which is the activation of all of these actions. That's when the people actually get what they either paid for or what they invested in. One of the possible actions, in addition to buying or performing these actions, is declaring that you will attack an adventure or a private dungeon. Private dungeon is a place where a player can place his monsters. In particular, the bad guy, who already begins with 3 monsters, he will want to open a private dungeon. That's the only way that he can gain victory points at the end. He places his monsters in the dungeon. He is subject to attack just like the other adventures. Okay. The adventures are played, or the attacks are played, as the third phase of the turn, which means all heroes that you have managed to acquire and all equipment that you have managed to acquire for your heroes will be available for you when you go out to battle. So when you see that you are going to have enough force, you can at some point declare, I will go to battle, and you know you will have all that because you activate before you go to battle. Battle ensues. I will very quickly show what a battle is, at the end of which, if the heroes win, they gain valor, they gain a chance to roll a victory die, a treasure die. The treasure die has 6 good faces. You either gain gold, or you gain items of 2 kinds, or you gain, in this demo, by the way, it shows as a gem, but you gain a green crystal. That's the real thing. Crystals are very good. They are worth victory points. You can resurrect dead with the crystals, so they are very desirable. So the chance of rolling a treasure die is a good thing. Right. So at the end of a turn, if you won the adventure, you will get the chance to roll dice. In some adventures, more than 1. Okay. If the monsters win, your heroes are dead, the threat level of the adventure or the dungeon increases, so the general threat level of the city also goes up. Okay. That was the fourth. So at that stage, we do the accounting of valor versus threat. Mm-hmm. We determine immigration, move to the next turn. Okay. The immigration will determine whether we grew enough to change status. If we move from the status of village to the status of town, suddenly all the town buildings marked in green get lit up by these lanterns that I will place on them. Their actions are available, they can be bought. The game opens up, a lot more actions can happen.
And then as well as we got in gold, I see a number of gold, gold buildings as well.
Also open up. And these are more complicated. Some of the buildings are a bit special. The healing tent is a place where you can heal wounded heroes. You tap your wounded hero for a turn, place your guild token here, and at the end of the turn, you will get your token back and the hero will be healed. You can heal as many heroes as you want, but they are tapped for that turn. So you have to remember that you cannot use them. If you run short for money, you can go into the black market, deposit your token, get a loan of 2 gold. You want your token back, pay 3 gold. Tokens seem to be a free resource, but you only have 6 of them. At the very early stages of the game, there's nothing much you can do, so 6 look like a lot. When you progress, you own a building, 1 token. You're healing, another token. You borrowed some money. There's also a business with a cemetery that can tie up your token. Tokens become a scarce resource, so you have to manage them as you manage all other resources. These building manufactured goods, you can place a worker to make something. This is available for sale now. Somebody can place a gold, buy it. The gold goes to the owner. These are also all good. These are enhancements for your heroes. For example, any hero that carries this item can have 1 wound healed in battle. So if he gets wounded, he can choose to use this item and heal 1 wound. If you also happen to be either a wizard or a cleric, that's one of the kinds of heroes that are available, you get, in addition to this free heal, 2 more attack dice. That makes you much more powerful. So definitely this card is worthwhile to equip a wizard or a cleric.
So
Anybody can buy it for that benefit. And so my final comment here is everything is negotiable, which means between the players you can buy and sell everything you own. You don't own these people, you can't buy or sell them, but everything else you can buy or sell to benefit the players.
And it seemed like you'd have a lot of temporary alliances because, of course, you do want to, you have to progress.
That's
you have to
right.
make everything bigger, but at a certain point,
So this
you
is
go your own way.
a semi-cooperative game. That's the definition. Yes?
Thanks very much for the overview.